Good morning and welcome. I'm Dr. Mark Newman, UK Executive Vice President for Health Affairs. I want to begin by thanking everybody for joining us today for what is another important milestone for the University of Kentucky. To tell us more about today's announcement is UK President Dr. Eli Capilouto. Dr. Capilouto became the 12th president of the University of Kentucky July the 1st in 2011. Under his leadership, the Commonwealth's flagship and land-grant research university has grown from $2.7 billion to $5.1 billion in total operations and has gained significant momentum in its missions of teaching, research, service, and healthcare. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Capilouto.
Thank you, Dr. Newman. Welcome to all of you. I am honored to be here to celebrate this prestigious and important award for our Center for Clinical and Translational Sciences. I do remember when I was being recruited to the University of Kentucky, we had just received this award a few years earlier. I knew it represented excellence. It's part of my reason for wanting to be here. I thank you, Dr. Kern, for your team attracting me, and I know others, to come to the University of Kentucky. It makes it an especially exciting day for our institution, and it's very special for the people we serve. It's transformative for them. Indeed, service to others and a commitment to uplift communities is at the heart of this place. So I want to take, for example, the story of one of our community members, Mary Beth Castle. At age 57, Mary Beth learned she was pre-diabetic. After witnessing her father and sibling endure the challenges associated with this condition, she was determined to avoid the outcome for herself. In response, she made a bold decision, not just to change her own health, but to open her arms to those around her and help them improve their health as well. She became a community health educator for the Johnson County Health Department. So through the CCTS Community Seed Program, Mary Beth has reached hundreds of community members, facilitating diabetes screening and education events with her program entitled Fall into Fitness. Her story speaks to who we are and what we do. Kentuckians serving Kentuckians, leveraging talents and passions to answer the questions of our day. The Center for Clinical and Translational Sciences has delivered on that solemn pledge for 15 years. CCTS has catalyzed clinical and translational discoveries through an integrated, transformative research environment aimed at improved health with an emphasis on Central Appalachia. But the vital role of CCTS has never been more evident than it was in 2020. The center quickly established a COVID-19 biobank, launched a pilot funding program specifically for COVID, and operationalized an incredibly successful and efficient COVID-19 vaccine unit. When we were needed to meet the moment, this team stepped up. So this is the third time the CCTS has successfully competed for the prestigious Clinical and Translational Award, with continuous funding since 2011, totaling more than $65 million in research support. It's a testament to the incredible talent we have at this institution and our enduring promise to improve health outcomes in Kentucky. I want to especially thank Senator Mitch McConnell for his strong advocacy for the University of Kentucky and the work our people make possible. The senator has played a pivotal role in supporting this center and so much more. It has allowed us to accelerate discoveries and propel Kentucky forward. I would also like to recognize with deep gratitude Drs. Mark Newman, Lisa Cassis, Phil Kern, and Brittany Smalls for their incredible leadership. Because of our people, we continue to fulfill our promise to be the university for Kentucky. So congratulations to the CCTS team on this remarkable achievement. Thank you, and thank all of you for being here.
Thank you, President Capilouto. Although we often take science for granted now, there has been no greater time in history than the last 18 months when we have relied on research and science to help us achieve medical advances and sustain life. In 1918, during the Spanish flu pandemic, scientists had identified a number of bacteria that were at issue, but we at that point didn't even know what viruses were. No laboratory tests were available to detect, isolate, or characterize these viruses. Furthermore, so little was known on a public health issue about the things we needed to do to prevent spread and/or detection. Today, in a rapid amount of time since we were first impacted by COVID, we have a vaccine. We also have information on how to stop the spread of the illness by hand washing, covering sneezes, physical distancing, and wearing masks. We also know about personal protective equipment, gloves, masks, etc., and ways to protect our healthcare providers while they provide care to patients with COVID-19. All of these advances are due to the bridge between research and clinical care. UK Healthcare is proud to have been a partner and a sponsor for the Center for Clinical and Translation Science since its inception, and we are especially proud to have worked with them over the past year to be the leading enrolling center in the world for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. I want to congratulate Dr. Kern, you and your team for the work that you do and the ongoing effort and success in receiving this Center for Translational Science Award, CTSA Award. I want to thank Senator McConnell for your continued support in helping us bring forward these results that are so important and so impactful for so many lives. So in order to speak more about this, I want to introduce to you Dr. Lisa Cassis. Dr. Cassis has served as the university's Kentucky's Vice President for Research since 2015. She joined the faculty at UK in 1988 and is currently professor in the Department of Pharmacology and Nutrition Sciences, as well as having affiliations with the Saha Cardiovascular Research Center, the Barnstable Brown Diabetes Center, and the College of Pharmacology. She is principal investigator on several multi-million-dollar federal grants and has been continuously funded by the NIH for more than 30 years. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Cassis.
Good morning. I want to begin by joining President Capilouto and the previous speakers in thanking Senator McConnell for his leadership in the U.S. Senate. Your work is essential to UK's research mission, so we thank you very much for being here with us today, sir. Thank you, President Capilouto and Dr. Newman, for your unwavering support of our clinical research efforts. As you know, UK is a diverse land-grant university. It has 16 degree-granting colleges all together on one campus. Our contiguous campus location that includes 6 healthcare colleges within the academic medical center spurs innovative collaborations across these disciplines. UK is a place rooted in collaboration, not competition. and that collaborative spirit has propelled us forward. For example, in FY21, grants and contracts to UK reached a record of $468 million, with 60% of external grants and contracts from the federal government. NIH support totaled $176.4 million to UK, which is 63% of our overall federal funding. Yes, I am an active researcher, and I have had the wonderful benefit of receiving support from NIH for the last 30 years. And I can personally testify to how NIH support is enabling UK to make discoveries that are targeted at reducing health disparities that plague our citizens. We are one of 22 institutions with what we affectionately call the trifecta of NIH research designations. The first designation is a National Institutes of Aging funded Alzheimer's Disease Research Center, the renewal for which we announced earlier this month. The second is our National Cancer Institute designated Cancer Center, and the third is the NCATS-funded Clinical and Translational Science Award, the CTSA, which we're here to celebrate and talk about today. These signature programs form the foundation for translational research at UK. NIH support of these complex infrastructure grants is critical to translational research that underpins our academic medical center within the growing UK healthcare enterprise. The CCTS received its first round of funding in 2011. And as you've heard, last year, as we faced the COVID-19 pandemic, the CCTS launched a full COVID vaccine trial from scratch in 83 days. But this was not just your average trial. This was creating a unit to run a clinical trial here and at 2 other hospitals. Launching this trial required a team science approach, something we could achieve because of NIH support to the CCTS. UK went on to become the top enrolling site in the world for Johnson & Johnson's phase 3 trial of their COVID vaccine. And this success paved the way for 4 more COVID vaccine trials to date at UK. Through the CCTS, we established the Appalachian Translational Research Network, which expands our healthcare reach and positions UK investigators to partner directly with communities to have the largest possible impact. The CCTS provides UK investigators access to research networks across the country. In 2020 alone, they engaged in 71 national partnerships. They have supported research across 14 of the 16 colleges at UK, providing a full spectrum of services from study development and startup to study closeout. Core functions, part of that infrastructure, include providing seed support to stimulate new research and, importantly, training the next generation of translational scientists. These programs have had immense impact on UK research, with return on investment for each dollar awarded at 20 to 1. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Philip Kern, who will share more about the work of the CCTS. Dr. Kern holds joint appointments in internal medicine and pharmacology and nutritional sciences, and he is affiliated with the Barnstable-Brown Diabetes and Obesity Center. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Kern.
Thank you, Lisa, and good morning, and I thank everyone for coming today, and especially Senator McConnell for all his support. A recent news article caught my attention. Tyler was a 17-year-old African-American boy who played high school football. He was described as a gentle giant and planned to go to college on a football scholarship. One day recently, he tested positive for COVID and developed some weakness in his legs. His family took him to a clinic, and he was treated and then discharged. After all, he was a healthy young boy. Subsequently, his weakness got severe, and he started to have seizures. He was taken to a nearby university hospital where he was intubated, given potent drugs to combat his seizures. Unfortunately, he deteriorated over the next few days and he died from complications of COVID. The tragedy of this teenage boy brings home to me a number of important issues. We take pride in the many and considerable medical advances, our rapid response to the COVID-19 pandemic, the rapid development of effective vaccines, the improvement in treating these sick patients. Yet despite these advances, which are indeed considerable, we are humbled by a patient such as this, and we realize what we don't know. We don't know why COVID can cause an asymptomatic or mild infection in one person and can be rapidly fatal in another. We don't understand why COVID has a propensity to activate the clotting system and causing overwhelming thrombosis in an otherwise healthy person. COVID-19 is particularly exposed to many issues of health inequity in our communities, and is particularly rampant in communities of color. How can we engage with communities, especially communities of color, to develop comprehensive strategies to avoid tragedies such as that experienced by Tyler? We have not found the best way to communicate research findings to combat the avalanche of misinformation. The notion that tough guys don't die from COVID. We need to combat these erroneous notions. We need to find a way to improve our overall literacy in science and health. And this is why we need research to answer questions like this and to improve overall health. Basic research is important to provide some of the molecular underpinnings of disease, but ultimately a mouse is not a human, and we need clinical and translational research to advance healthcare. Clinical research involves human participants and is performed in centers like our CCTS, and is performed in an ethical, safe, and humanistic manner. I invite everyone to go to our website and look over the array of clinical research studies, not only COVID, but studies covering substance abuse, heart disease, diabetes, cancer, Alzheimer's, community-based research, health disparities research, and many others. Don't be afraid to volunteer for a study if you feel comfortable being a part of this process. I'm proud to have been part of the outstanding group of professionals in the CCTS who work hard every day to advance clinical science, many of whom are sitting right here. I'd like to also point out Rick Greenberg. Our COVID vaccination trials have been mentioned a number of times, and Dr. Greenberg is the PI of that and sitting here. The rapid response to COVID is a tribute to the established infrastructure that was present from our grant, and we're thankful for the robust NIH funding for this center and for the consistent support of the NIH by Congress. The next period of CTSA funding will continue to support a wide array of studies, promote career development and expand the research workforce, engage our communities, and promote diversity. I would like to now introduce Dr. Brittany Smalls to talk a little about this. Dr. Smalls is an assistant professor in the Department of Family and Community Medicine who studies health disparities and the social determinants of health and directs the DREAM program in the CCTS, which supports scholars in health equity research. Dr. Smalls.
Thank you all for having me and just listening to all the wonderful work that my colleagues have done. I'm very excited and happy to be part of this cadre of investigators and leaders. And so for me, this is very important and very close to home as a health disparities researcher and someone who, like Dr. Kern says, studies social determinants of health. It's really important that we as a CTSA, as well as a community, really engage in health disparities research, and that means workforce. That means developing and cultivating researchers and leaders who understand and know how to engage our community and how to effectively research areas that are struggles to our community, from chronic disease to COVID, to understanding the different social determinants that are actually impacting why we have health disparities in Kentucky. And so part of what I'm doing as part of the CTSA is I am working with the Dream Scholars Program, which looks at and helps researchers from pre-docs, postdocs, and junior faculty, help them and train them in health disparities research. We're also doing programs for undergraduate students who want to engage and who want to give back to their community. And so they can come to us, we will teach them research methods that they can then go into their community and utilize and then help be part of the change and facilitate the change in the Commonwealth. We are really excited about this. We know that in order to change what's going on in our communities, we have to train those that are coming up behind us. And so that is part of what I'm doing and part of what the CCTS is doing as part of their initiatives for this, under this new award. And I also want to just thank everyone who's already been working in marginalized populations from rural communities out in Appalachia. And now we are going to expand that with this new award to include other marginalized communities, including racial and ethnic minorities, which is going to be a comprehensive endeavor to reduce health disparities within our Commonwealth. And it is a huge undertaking, as we see with COVID. COVID has not just impacted rural communities, but has impacted our racial and ethnic minorities. And as Dr. Kern shared with Tyler, we have Tylers all through the Commonwealth. And so we want to make sure that we are engaging and we are doing research and we are building up a workforce that can actually tackle what we are seeing in the Commonwealth. So I thank you all for coming and sharing in this momentous occasion with us. And I look forward to sharing with you all what we will be able to do in the near future with our workforce endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Smalls. It's wonderful to hear about the next generation that comes behind us. So I have a special honor today, and that's to introduce our next speaker. I've worked closely with Senator McConnell since I came to UK 10 years ago. He honored me by a visit to my office, and he's been attentive to the University of Kentucky, certainly before I arrived, but I've seen evidence of it almost every day since my arrival. I remember just a few years ago sitting in the gallery of the Senate when Senator McConnell spoke passionately and eloquently about the Cures Act to expand NIH funding. That's part of the reason we're here today as well. So he's always been there for us, supporting our mission to advance Kentucky in education, research, service, and patient care. Time and again, he's answered our call and helped us find a way to honor our mission. I'm very pleased that Senator McConnell could join us this morning for another significant occasion that he helped make possible with his steadfast support. Join me in welcoming Senator Mitch McConnell.
Well, it's great to be back to the UK celebrating another milestone. It seems like we're doing this quite frequently. I want to congratulate this team behind me and you, Dr. Capilouto, for putting it all together. This grant we're talking about today is extremely difficult to get, and that's what I think I want to underscore. If this team behind us were not so extraordinary, they wouldn't have gotten one of these grants. It simply would not have happened. This is a remarkable effort here at UK, and I've watched, as a graduate some time back, watched the rapid progress on so many different fronts occurring here at UK. It makes me, I say, Dr. Capilouto, as a graduate, extremely proud to have gone to school here. With regard to COVID-19, I don't want to miss the opportunity to say once again, Operation Warp Speed, which is part of the CARES Act, which we passed last year, put $50 billion into an effort to get as many effective vaccines as possible, as quickly as possible. Some of you may recall, I like to mention the fact that I was a polio victim when I was a kid. It took a half a century to develop 2 effective vaccines that finally stopped polio, and it's now essentially eradicated in the whole world, with maybe 1 or 2 country exception. This development of 3 highly effective vaccines in less than 1 year was, by any standard of modern medical miracle, a modern medical miracle produced in our country as a result of a cooperative relationship between the federal government, which funded it, and the brilliant scientists in the pharmaceutical industry that developed it. Honestly, my friends, it never occurred to me that we'd have a challenge getting people to take the vaccine. But that's where we are. 90% of the people in the hospitals are unvaccinated. We have a crisis of the unvaccinated. And so we're all, I think, perplexed as to how we tackle this problem. But clearly, getting more and more Americans vaccinated is the only way to end it. A year ago, we didn't have a vaccine. Now we do. And since football season's about to start, for those of you who are not football fans, the red zone is the last 20 yards before you score. Well, we're clearly in the red zone, but we're not in the end zone. And so all of us, I think, collectively, to the extent that we have influence with friends and relatives and others, need to encourage everybody to get the vaccination for one simple reason: it works. Congratulations again on a great success story here, another great success story at UK.
Let me again thank Senator McConnell for being here and for his support. Also just want to just congratulate everybody on the panel because this is a phenomenal opportunity for the University of Kentucky and for all of Kentucky, because we all take advantage of this infrastructure and the ability to do clinical research to advance the care that we provide every day. So we're very proud. From the media, just to let the media know that the people on the panel will be available for individual questions. We'll be splitting up and having individual questions, but I also want to just say thank you to everybody, because this is one of those milestones that we're extremely proud of, and we know that it will make a difference in the lives of Kentuckians and their health care as we move forward. And I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you very much, and thank you again, Senator.